Hi, I'm Gabe Hamilton. I'm head of engineering at LifeLink. So it's one of the places I get to talk to lots of smart people, which hopefully is fed into these predictions here. Cooked up a nice little batch. Hope you enjoy them. Got three predictions for you. One about 2030, and then two about this year, 2021. But before we get into that, it's fun to make predictions. I definitely recommend it as a habit. Kind of exercise those predictive muscles. And, if later on you're setting goals for yourself or your team or choosing technologies, it's a really nice input. You can say, oh, great, I'm predicting that, this thing is really going to grow this year. Maybe I should learn more about that technology, for instance. So definitely a nice habit. Okay, so our first prediction, it's about healthcare. And I've been making this prediction for a couple of years, but it's a prediction about 2030. So you can let's do it again next year too. I'll just keep making it until 2030. But that is that healthcare spending is going to grow. Amazing, right? Oh yeah, we're in a pandemic. Anyone could tell you that. Healthcare spending is growing. But I think that the pandemic is actually just a blip in a longer, larger trend. So my prediction is that over the next decade, we're going to see healthcare spending, or healthcare as a portion of the economy, go from the like 17, almost 18% of the economy that it is today to 25%. So huge growth, not just like growing and growing, but growing larger relative to all the rest of the economy, such that $1 in $4 will be spent in healthcare instead of the almost 1 in 5 that we have right now, 1 in 6, I guess. And the reason why I think this is going to keep growing is that we want more healthcare. Like, even though we're trying to reduce costs in lots of ways, we want more and more being healthy. You can get a fancy iPhone and a fancier iPhone, but really we all want to be healthier, live longer, have our injuries heal more quickly. So there'll just be more and more demand and more reason to spend your money on improved quality of life. Plus, our society is aging. Larger and larger group of people want their eyesight and their hearing not to deteriorate as fast. Want to burn more fat and just have our bodies work more efficiently and avoid chronic diseases. So I'm looking forward to the future where I go into the doctor and they're like, okay, your cancer scan's complete. There were 4 stage 0 cancers that we detected. Probably your body would take care of them, but we've just eliminated them. That's the kind of increased healthcare spending that I'm looking forward to. So that's the first prediction. Second prediction is about this year, about virtual reality. So this year, I predict that you will buy a virtual reality headset if you don't already have one. And the reason is that virtual reality has really entered the early majority phase of the market. So if you work at a startup or even lots of other companies, you'll see these graphs all the time about adoption of technology through markets. And as you get past all the early adopters, like most people on this call, and you really get into the overall market, you move into the early majority and late majority, and that's where tons of money is made. So there are hundreds of billions of dollars to be made in virtual reality over the next decade. And even though a lot of that's going to accrue to some big companies that are already in there, you could start a virtual reality company today with some good ideas and make $10 billion. So it's a good option. A little side eddy with that, augmented reality. So projecting things out onto the world that you're seeing. Definitely still a really interesting area, growing pretty slowly. We had Google Glass, I don't know, a decade ago almost, and lots of interesting things are coming out these days to project things into your vision. I think that's going to continue to grow slow, but I do predict that will be pretty big over the next decade. Another 5 years, you'll start seeing a lot of the screens we use currently replaced by augmented reality screens. A decade from now will really be prevalent. Your computer screen, your phone screen, you're likely to use augmented reality for that instead. I wouldn't bet against LED screens though. Just like the paperless office made lots of paper companies rich, so we printed out gazillions of things. We'll probably start seeing LED screens, just walls will just be covered in LED screens. It'll be a very normal thing. Okay, and last prediction is that this year we'll see machine learning understanding of math driving a lot of machine learning improvements. So, we've taught machine learning networks to understand language in a lot of ways. We do some prediction with text, and that forces your machine learning model to learn a model of text, semantic meaning, what words mean, what the relationship is to each other. Similarly, in last year, we've seen a lot of improvements in the same way with math, models that'll prove theories for you, which means that those models have had to learn really strong embedding and encoding of math, how math works. So I think this year we'll start seeing that being leveraged in machine learning networks themselves to learn new things. It's got that mathematical landscape that we can now train networks on. So I think we'll see really interesting new activation functions and nonlinear weighting between nodes in machine learning networks. All kinds of things that I can't even dream up, but that a machine learning network should be able to dream up about how to better optimize how you're doing machine learning. We've seen the same thing with the structure of machine learning networks. You can have a service choose which structure is best for you. And I think we'll start to see that, but in a mathematical sense. So those are my 3 predictions of the future. So I hope to see you all there in the future.